Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live. This is a great conversation we're having, even behind the cameras. And, you know, by the way, I have to mention Dr. Timothy Njoya's book. I don't know if you've read it or heard of it. The title?
The title is the woman body is the body of the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
It's the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Check this out, folks. The divinity of the clitoris.
That means the woman's body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, her whole body like every other person.
I want a copy of that. Oh my, oh my, I want a copy. Oh my.
I think you need the extinguisher.
No, I know why. What about the other one?
It's called We the People. It's a memoir.
We the People.
Yeah, Timothy Njoya. Must be a great read. I should have brought you my copy of my book as well. I'll make sure you get.
I bought it one time.
Did you?
No, I don't know.
I think I gave you a copy.
You give me a copy. You give me a copy.
Is this for me? Or for the Sheikh?
I'll give you these two.
Sheikh, I'll give you after I read it.
Oh, okay, please.
I'm giving you because I'm giving you because you gave me yours.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I'll give you this.
Before the break, we were talking about leadership in this country. Sheikh, you want to say something?
I want to say something.
Because my question before the break was, why don't you people, you have such congregation, you have a constituency, you have followers, why don't you lead from within or lead from the front?
Jeff, it's very unfortunate. Look at the experience that we've had with people like us who are fighting for the second liberations, yesteryear reformers. Jeff, after they joined that gang, that group, they are politicians, we lost them. And I will forgive any person who comes to this country who doesn't know the history of the country if he thinks these people are conformists, they are not reformists. Then I'm not going to mention names, Jeff. The number of clergy that we had at Ofungamano, without mentioning names, who decided to join politics, and we thought they're going to sanitize that house, and they were absorbed into that house, and we lost them. We don't want to lose these people. Bishop, don't go there. We still need you here to keep that cool, that sober voice. We don't want to go there.
Right.
Reverend, we don't want you there.
Thank you.
Because the moment you go there, I don't know what oath they take, Jeff. Without mentioning names, we've lost many of the clergy who go there and they forget that they had a calling. And some of them will even tell you, I'm going there because I want to go and sanitize the politics. But instead of them being sanitized, or instead of them sanitizing, they get sucked into it.
But they were going to heaven, but their journey ended at the bank.
So, Jeff, that's the answer. I think we need some people there.
Yes.
We need some sober voices.
Yeah.
The voice of God on this side. Just like we still need you on that bench. Yes.
I appreciate that. Yes. Bishop, do you agree? Do you agree with this?
Not totally. Not totally.
Go on.
Leadership, from a biblical point of view, is a calling. Whether it is political, organizational, or spiritual, is a calling. When a person opts to get into a leadership position without that sense of calling, then what Sheikh is talking about happens. Because you put yourself into that place without the spiritual backing, without the authority of God. And we see this, at least in the Bible. We see those stories. But if God was to call Jeff and put it upon you to rise up and save the nation, I don't think you should refuse. Why? Because he knows what you want to do. All these great people we talk about who have brought changes and transformation in their nations, whether we read about them in history or we read about them in the Bible, they were called by God and they were ordinary people like us. But the difference was they did not take leadership. They did not step out for leadership just like that. But they had that calling and they were faithful to the calling. So there's the calling and then being faithful to the calling.
Yeah, but I can be evil and say, oh, one day wake up and say, God has told me.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what People, that's what, actually, that is the evil that we find ourselves in. That somebody, let me say, even spiritual leadership, there are people who just wake up and say, God has called me to be a pastor. And then they begin doing things that we were talking about earlier here. They have no calling to be a pastor. They have got there to fleece God's people, to do evil things. But when you have been really and truly called of God, you will be faithful to that calling, and you will do that which is right. So if a pastor, a bishop, a sheikh has received that calling to be a leader and to provide leadership, they will have the favor of God. And I can name for you people from both history and Bible that were called of God and provided excellent leadership. Are we together?
Oh, yeah. Reverend Doctor, let me ask you this.
Again, let me just comment on the standards.
Yeah.
We should have a bureau of standards for all professions. Because
a KEBS.
We have the chapter 6 of our constitution.
Ethics. Yes.
We should have now a committee, at least as soon as possible.
You're dreaming, Reverend Doctor. That will never happen. That will never happen. You know why?
Yeah.
Because we keep recycling the same leaders. And when we look
because
at
there's no bureau for vetting them. The question is that I'm calling for a bureau of standards for vetting, and the parliament was supposed to set that up by that very constitution on how to vet.
They can't set it up because it will vet them.
Thank you.
Okay, if they cannot, God should set it. Because we need to, even our pastor, we have too many degrees in the church which are fake degrees. Somebody called Doctor, Bishop, and all they are fake bishops. So even in the church should have a bureau of standards for vetting who are bishops and who are not, who are fake pastors, who have fake degrees, because we need a common, acceptable standard for people to know when you are called a bishop, this is a genuine bishop. When you are called a sheikh, this is a genuine sheikh.
And yet, Reverend Doctor, the last 4 or 5 elections, it's the usual suspects. It's the same crowd being recycled. Come on.
Because we have no way of vetting.
No, Jeff, let me tell you something.
Go on, Bishop.
There's a story in the Bible that I have used a lot. It talks about a time when the trees wanted a king, the trees of the forest. So my pastor here knows about that story. They went to the vine and said, vine, why don't you become our king? The vine said, oh, yeah, I'm busy with producing wine that makes kings and happy. Or should I leave that and go and sway over trees? They went to the olive. They said, olive, I'm the one who produces oil. Should I leave my oil producing to just sway over trees? They went to the fig tree. They said, I'm the one who produces figs. Should I leave this important thing to go and sway over trees? So finally the trees of the forest said, well, these people don't want it. They went to the thorn bush and they said, be our king. The thorn bush said, if you want me to be your king, just remember I am
thorny.
I'm a thorn. You will have to come under my leadership.
Yeah.
And so the forest ended up with a thorn bush. What happens is this nation, over what you are saying, is that good people do not want to leave the good things that they are doing in order to take leadership. That is on the one end. On the other side, which is now for us as voters, this country, Kenya, is a strange country. Once one person said we are queer. We have queer ways.
Yes. Peculiar.
Peculiar, yes, I think peculiar is the word. We are peculiar people. Because what Sheikh here said, when we see Jeff, and Jeff is a good person, we have seen him do good things and all of that. And Jeff presents himself and says, I would like to take leadership. Sheikh comes and says, my friend, don't go there. You know, that's a bad place. What he's saying is that let's leave that place for the bad people.
Okay.
Are we together? And Kenyans love bad people.
I think we are agreeing too much. But
hold on.
Kenyans love bad people.
Jeff,
The thugs of this country are the ones we elect. I don't want to mention names. Look at our city of Nairobi. Who did we choose to be our governor? Who do we choose to be our senator? And then we make noise. We love thugs. We love thorn bushes. And then we make noise. Oh, this country, oh, this country. What did you expect when you put a thug as a leader? What did you expect when you choose a thorn bush?
But wait,
so we must choose to change our ways. And we as church, we are taking this very seriously. We want to go and educate our people. Perhaps 2-3 people will listen to us and say, please choose your leaders carefully.
Sheikh Ibrahim, you were saying?
Yeah, what I would want to say is this, Jeff. Bishop is talking about that calling. And I don't know what gadget we can use to vet
measure the calling.
Whether it is genuine, a genuine calling. Because I could sleep, Jeff, and wake up and say there is a calling.
Correct.
And this is what they say, watu wangu wananitaka niwaongoze. But the question is this, Bishop.
Yes.
When somebody stands up for a seat, does he have in his mind the people or himself?
Many of them don't.
Many of them, it's tumbo langu, na mimi mwenyewe. So for me, as the religious leaders, what we need to do is this. Remind them. Like the Muslim politicians, I would quote from them from the Quran that leadership is a responsibility and you'll be answerable before God. And Jeff, you see in Islam, we don't fear talking about death. And for me, I'll tell them on their face, you've been given this responsibility to lead the people of God. And out of our hard-earned taxes that we pay, you're getting your big salaries. And that big VX that you're driving is my sweat so that you lead me, okay? If you don't do it, you're answerable before God. And whatever you are earning, for me, I'll tell them it is haram because you have not done what it is that you've done. There is a saying of the Prophet, may peace be upon him, that says, each one of you is a guardian, kullukum ra'in, and each of you will be answerable before God on what you've been taken care of. You can be an MP or a president for 24 years, but eventually your day with God will come. So we need to keep on reminding them that this is not your position. It's not, and I think we should stop calling them Mheshimiwas. We respect them. Yes, and I want to agree with Jero Gadhango, Mheshimiwa. He refused to be called Mheshimiwa. Mtumishi wa watu. They should know that. But even long after retirement, they still want to be called Waheshimiwa.
Correct.
We should keep on reminding them it is more of a responsibility than an honor to you, and you'll be answerable for that position. I think this is what we need to do. When I said that I fear that we lose good people inside there, I think I want to agree with the Bishop here that are we going to leave that place for the thorn bushes only? I think we need good people there. But how do we know that we're not going to lose? Because, Jeff, without mentioning names, if I look at the people who are at Ufungamano, some of them leading us in Ufungamano, without mentioning names.
We know them.
You know them. Don't mention them. Don't. Before Jeff will use his fire extinguisher here. You know, we lost them there. They went inside there and they changed completely. We meet them. We don't hear them talk about anything again. Then the other problem ni mtu wetu. Even as a religious leader, as long as the person who is misleading people and making the noise is from my tribe, my county, ni mtu wetu huyo. Na akiguswa, nitapiga kelele, whether he's right or wrong. A teaching of Islam tells us, rescue your brother, whether he is the oppressor or the oppressed. Now you wonder, how do you rescue him when he's the oppressor? By stopping him from oppressing. That is how you rescue your brother. Unfortunately, we don't do that. If Jeff is from Kiambu and the person making noise out there is from Kiambu, you stand with them. I'm from Kajiado. Just because somebody comes from my backyard, I'll stand up with them. I think we need... Mtuetu. So I think this is where we've gone wrong. But I agree with we should not live under the thorn bushes to lead us. We should have good people. But my fear, Bishop, tutawapoteza. We have lost it. Sasa tufanye nini? We'll lose them. Bishop, I'm afraid I'll lose you the moment you go there.
No, just a moment.
No, I think...
Don't stop me from going there.
I think...
What is your intention? What is your intention of going there?
Making a change, change from within.
To himself or to the...
I think we have...
To me, my problem is with Kenyans. We as Kenyans, I'm one of them. Let us decide that we are tired of getting thorn bushes.
Yeah, okay.
That's what Reverend is saying. Let's have a vetting process, which says, this, out of the people who have presented themselves, we know so-and-so has a track record. We know so-and-so has values. We know so-and-so's character. This is how he has lived among us. So-and-so, no. Please, we can see your desire, but you are not the kind of person who we are looking for.
Yeah.
If we as Kenyans get to that place, we reverence and sheikhs, we don't have to get there, because that is not our calling.
Exactly.
Our calling is to oversee the spiritual life of the nation. That is the calling that I have. As a pastor.
I just want to talk about, I don't want to distract your line of thinking about leadership. But leadership is a division of labor. When you are sheikh, you should not leave sheikhhood, because there are also bad and good sheikhs.
I agree.
And you should not leave my ministry. And I would think I would be very, very wrong if I left my ministry to go into another profession called politician, because they are, even in the ministry they are rotten clergy and they are good clergy.
Yeah. True. We are thought clergy
and wise clergy. So let me put it this way: we have different talents. Plato has led this world until today because of his wisdom and his knowledge. So is Socrates. So we don't know the kings of their time, of Plato's time, but we know who was. We know Jesus, and we have gotten other names because he was a leader.
Yes.
So leadership doesn't have to be
in the political arena.
Yeah, a doctor is a leader in the world, and you should not go there and use that as your platform.
Okay. So
just as we were saying,
Reverend Doctor, let me ask you this, and it's an unfair question, but maybe you can answer it. Yeah. So, what kind of leader should we elect next year, or should Kenyans elect next year? What kind of leader? In the absence of
having set a committee, a bureau standard for vetting who are going to be leaders, and you call it the committee, the election committee is called the IBC.
Yes.
That one was supposed also to vet to see whether people meet.
Yes, they have that mandate.
Yeah. They have that mandate. And due to the people, they are also being in their ineptitude or incompetence. We didn't have people who are vetting. And therefore, I don't know even the 4 people now we are adding, whether they have going to come to have the competent intellectual aptitude to be able to have courage. And they were told in Parliament by Duare, have courage. Did you see how he was told, get courage, don't get smoked out of the place. So I'm saying, I'm also affirming Duare's words. If you are elected to be IBC, be courageous, be able to vet, don't allow crooks to become leaders, because I'm sure 90% of the people who fight for election next time will also be crooks. Should we stay with the crooks we know, run and erect new ones? I don't know.
For me,
for you,
the leader that we need, it is a leader, when I tell them, fear God, they will hear me. When I tell them that you have a responsibility and you're answerable to God, then they will heed to my word. So a God-fearing person. Because for me, that is a person who will take their responsibility very seriously. They will serve the people knowing that God is watching, and they will serve the people without putting their hands into the public coffers. They will not be corrupted. They are people who will give every person their rights.
Sheikh, do those people exist?
Yeah, I believe we have those kind of people in this country. We have them.
We have them.
Unfortunately, as we said, they are the fig trees and the olive trees and the rest. So they need to come out.
Fig trees and olives are in every profession.
Joseph, in the Bible and in the Quran, he told the leaders of Egypt, let me be in charge of the stores because I'm trustworthy. So what we need to do now is Kenyans who think that they can lead the country and they are God-fearing, then they should come forth.
Right.
Okay? These are the people. I believe, Jeff, not everybody in this country is rotten. We have good people in this country.
Oh, yes.
These are the kind of people. For me, I would go for a radical surgery in the political arena. The usual suspects, because they are the same people. We only have now one new voice, although it's not very new, because his name has been mentioned, even in political circles.
Yeah.
As Kenyans, can't we decide enough is enough? I believe we can do that, Reverend.
Yeah.
We say enough is enough, and the churches and the mosques have that muscle. Jeff, if we agree from today henceforth, until we get to elections, first of all, we sensitize our people. And we show them the evils of electing people who are not God-fearing, people who just care about themselves. And we need also, and I keep on saying this, every cloud has a silver lining. You see what has happened now, and even the breakaway, it is bad for the country that the number one and number two have decided now to go different ways, which is very unfortunate. But the lesson for me, Jeff, is this. Do not fight your brother because of a politician. Tomorrow, these people who are together today, they will part ways together.
And
Who will
those
be
who
the
are,
loser?
and who are apart will come together.
Yeah, and who are people, Jeff, that you could not have imagined would come together, have come together. Lesson for a Kenyan is this: don't die, don't go full throttle for our politicians. Remember, we have a country here, and these people might change tomorrow. Then we agree we want a total change, and I believe we can do that. And I'm using this platform of your bench today to tell Kenyans, can we decide enough is enough of thorns? Can we look for the fig trees and the olive trees? And we have them in this country.
They are there.
And you know the problem, we have surrendered ourselves, including you, Jeff, that we think we don't have good people. We have good people, and it's only these people who can vie. Why can't we have new people coming up?
Can you be an activist? And,
yes, I'll do that.
Yes, and form and be
Sheikh, where have you been? Where have you been?
I have been here. I've been the fig tree and the olive tree. And that's why the thorn trees are there.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Are you going to do it?
Let me say, if you agree to be an activist,
yes,
I will ask you and I will appoint you and everybody else to become the chairman of a People's Vetting Committee.
Okay.
And you will call all your fig trees and olive trees and form that body, yes, so that those people who fight for elections this coming time, we shall write them on a list of the reject and those who are qualified.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
The public can.
Will that work, Bishop? Will that work? I mean, yes, it sounds all nice and
sounds all
rosy.
Nice. You remember, Jeff, I said, I don't want to be a pessimist, but I am a bit. I said, first of all, Kenyans love thugs.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And I'm one of them. I'm a Kenyan. You go down to the village, you'll find that people who will throw stones, people who will distribute money, people who will call others names and so on, these are the people we vote for. A person who comes and is articulating issues and say, this is what I can do, these are the things that can be done, those people rarely make it. Rarely.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Rarely make it.
Yeah. And it's our fault.
It is our fault.
Collectively.
Because we are the ones who vote for them.
Yes.
They rarely make it. So we have come to the place where we then surrender that we will have our thorn bushes. That is why, as I said earlier, every election, as long as I've been an adult in this country, soon after the elections, we are shouting at our leaders. Oh, these guys, oh, these guys, oh, these people. Who elected them?
We elected them.
Have you forgotten people like Jeremiah Nyaga and many others I can mention who are upright?
No, I'm talking here generally. I'm not saying all the leaders are thorn bushes. We said they are good people in this country.
Oh, yes.
They are good people. But I'm saying that as Kenyans, we need to do what Sheikh is saying, to say enough is enough. We are not going to take these people. So if you were to ask me what kind of persons should be leaders in this country that we should choose, on top of being godly, which I 100% agree with, because when a person is responsible to God,
yes,
you don't have to police them.
Very good.
Because they know that God is everywhere,
yes,
even where there is nobody. That person is policed from heaven. And so they will do the right thing even when there is nobody who is facing them or following them or seeing them. But on top of that, we need people of character. And we know them. When you are going to vote for a member of parliament, you know these people who are presenting themselves. You have been seeing them around the village. Do they have character? Are they the ones who have been stealing people's chicken? Are they the ones who have been selling people changa and giving people drugs? You know them. We know them in the village.
Yeah.
We know them in the cities. You know, cities sometimes is difficult because I don't even know my next door neighbor. But in the village, people know one another.
Yes.
You know, people know one another. So let's find people of character. Number 3, I'm adding to his first one of godliness, is competence. I may be godly, I may have character, but I simply don't have the competence to be a leader.
Exactly.
So even if you give me, you know, like this gentleman who are taking care of us here in the cameras, you don't pick them from the streets. They have the competence of knowing how to manage that camera.
Correct.
They have the skills. Why do we think that leading a country doesn't require competence? I was very shocked the other day when our MP said you don't need a degree to be a leader. Where? Which company will take you to be a CEO with 0?
No.
And you want to be the CEO of a country, of a constituency, of a county with a 0? You have not seen the inside of a school. No wonder then we make laws that tie our hands like chicken. So let's have people with competency, where we can say, Jeff here has run a program for the last several years, and we have seen the fruit of his labor. Surely if we give him this chance, he may take our constituency to the next level. He may take our county to the next level. He may take our country to the next level. But if he has never even run anything, and then he is just a good talker, you know?
Yeah. And we elect him.
Then we elect him, and he can come on there and call people
because
names.
He has money, and he goes dishing out the money. We elect him because of that. Because mostly this is what we do.
Yeah. So let's have
votes
character.
Are bought.
Let's have competency. Let's have godliness. These are people who will take our countries. If you read the history of these countries, Singapore, Malaysia,
yes,
South Korea, and all those, they go to that place, Rwanda, right here behind us. There are people who have competence. They have their heart for the nation. They don't go there to enrich themselves. And you see the country growing. But here we elect people who their first duty of business in parliament is to increase their salaries.
Allowances.
Their first business in parliament is to get cars.
Okay.
Their first business in parliament. You are sure then you have thorn bushes.
Plenty of thorn bushes. By the way, where is that in the Bible? I missed that class. Where is that?
Judges chapter 9.
Judge,
the book of Judges chapter 9.
I need to look at that.
Please look at it.
I love it. Thorn tree, vines.
olive trees, fig trees.
Full of it. Okay, gentlemen, let's go to the magic wall. Some feedback, huh? Some feedback. Lots of tweets coming in tonight, lots of reactions. Ian Bissett says, what are some of the practical steps the church can do to curb violence before, during and after elections and to cool down the already boiling temperatures in the nation? Reverend Doctor. Practical steps.
First of all, we are the church. We are doing something, talking to you people, to behave also. To know that your competence and analytical skills are very required in electing a good person. That's why we have universal education, to train every Kenyan to acquire basic skills for thinking, for processing information, and for knowing what is bad and what is good. To know the bad and good, to know whether to eat, to wash your hands when you eat, or whether you want to eat with the germs. When we go to election, it's the same. Some politicians are germs.
Sheikh, do you agree?
Don't react.
Oh, well, I want to say this.
You were saying the temperatures are already rising.
Yes, yes.
What can we do to?
We need to talk to our people. Use the various platforms that we have.
Yeah.
Let the churches use the pulpits. Let the mosques use the members. Can we talk to our people and tell them that this country is bigger than the politicians, so that we do not take our country, or let the politicians take our country to the dogs? Prepare ourselves to elect the fig trees and the olive trees, and do away with the thorn bushes.
Yes. Absolutely. Bishop, you agree, obviously.
I was going to say that we are taking very practical steps, and now I'm talking as Evangelical Alliance of Kenya. We are developing what we are calling a situation room, where we are going to monitor across the country through our networks of churches what is happening in each county, each ward, each constituency, all the way to the national. And we want to form teams in every of these areas who are going to be mediators and moderators, so that if two candidates are vying for a position in a constituency, for example, and they get to that place where they are getting into violence, the pastors and bishops in that area can call these people and talk with them so that they leave the path of violence. And then, of course, like Sheikh has said, we use our pulpits Sunday after Sunday to talk to the people, train them that we don't have to fight over elections, because these people we are fighting for, like Sheikh again has said, tomorrow they are
shaking hands.
They are shaking hands. They are friends. They are going for lunch.
Oh, yes.
They are taking tea, and you are maimed.
And they're laughing at us.
And they are laughing at us.
Okay, Edward Aligula says, the conversation is on point. My prayer is, let God lead the religious to endorse men and women of integrity. They know them and they can persuade and support them to vie for political offices. Like you said, Sheikh, God-fearing.
Yes.
God-fearing.
That's point on.
Musa says, the country is filled with corruption everywhere. When you speak the truth, people think you're stealing from them. They love bad people and embrace the lies that they are sold. Church person joining politics is just wasting their souls. They become part of this unholy world.
Oh, God.
So let the thorn bushes go on lead us.
It's the thorns.
Yeah.
The medic, K.E. says, in a Christian setup, I personally believe it's impossible to separate religion and politics. We raise politicians from amongst congregants. There is no wrong in speaking to one of their own. Okay.
I totally agree, Jeff. Let us not separate between the religion and politics.
And politics. Religion and politics.
Yeah, because what we should make very clear is this: that one should lead the other, and it's not politics to lead religion, but religion to lead politics. But let us not separate the two; they should be together.
Okay, Noah Kandia, real quick, and your quick thoughts. What do you think of the recent decision by the Court of Appeal over BBI? Real quick, Reverend Doctor, real quick.
Okay, the Court of Appeal in the BBI was dealing with the wrong issues. So the Court of Appeal went short of saying what we need to amend and change are the characters and the behavior of the people who become violent. and who, as I said, adopted behavior from Sudan of using violence to achieve power. And I think, therefore, the amendment is the psychic structure. It should be in the psychic structure. And that's what we have been here.
Check your thoughts.
Jeff, if you ask me very quickly, even the constitution that we have today, we have not implemented it. It's a beautiful constitution. Can we put our efforts in implementing what we have? And because it is a man-made law, we can still amend it. But can we first implement, and especially Chapter 6 of the Constitution? Thank you.
Bishop.
I'm of a different opinion. If you are a Kenyan, and you remember 2017. 2017, we couldn't have come to Jeff Koinange Live going into 2018.
Yep.
This country was burning. We as church leaders, I was personally involved in trying to help this country to get back on track. Moving from here, there, and everywhere, together with the diplomatic community. Eventually, the handshake happened. All Kenyans celebrated. Suddenly, the guns were quiet. People could go back to business. Out of that handshake is where the BBI came. From where I sit, the team that we were working with in trying this shuttle dip, we actually wanted to start a BBI. It was not named BBI because we felt as Kenyans we need to sit down and converse. We were calling it a national conversation so that we discuss what are these things that cause us to fight every election year. And I remember with some of the diplomatic community, some of the business people, religious people, civil society, we were in this group and we were even trying to identify who are the people who can lead this discussion. Who are the eminent persons in the country that can lead this discussion, this national conversation, so that we can talk and stop killing one another. So when the BBI came out as a part of a national conversation, we disbanded. We said, finally, what we wanted to do is happening. We were happy. Now, the challenge is, like happens with politicians, the whole process very soon became politicized. And it totally lost its original objectives, it lost its direction, and it got us to where we are today. Was BBI bad? No. Was handshake bad? No. Because unless we are being hypocritical, this country requires conversation. 2022 is coming. If we don't do anything about it, we are not going to be on Jeff Koinange Live. You'll be hiding in your house if you'll still be alive. Correct. You know?
Yeah.
So we cannot be hypocritical and celebrate things that will not take us anywhere.
Very good point, Bishop. Very good point.
I will not pretend about it.
Absolutely. Cindy says leaders can bring money to God as pastors, put it, but they should not be allowed to speak politics in church and accuse or insult one another. A church is a holy ground. Okay. Point noted. Sammy Kibet says, it is true that the church is a house of prayer for everyone, but its leadership must ensure that what is being said by any speaker must not be divisive. Because politics is divisive. True. Fellow Cheruti says, Njoya, President, Lethome, Vice President, Oginde can be CS internal security.
I want the president, my friend.
Okay.
How can they demote me so
Bishop, you're only getting CS.
Imagine, my friend, after I've worked here so hard.
Vice President, not even Deputy President.
Not even Deputy, my friend.
So I'll be at his mercy. Remember, there's a time for 1.5 years, somebody was at the mercy of somebody else.
So you can see we are already fighting over those positions.
This is a reflection now of Kenyans.
This is a typical example.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, it's been a very engaging conversation, and I'm going to ask for your closing thoughts going forward, because, you know, the election is less than a year away, like the Sheikh said.
Yes.
Closing thoughts going forward. Reverend Doctor, you go first.
I think the verdict, as I can see it, is examine yourselves. Where you've been, how we have gone. We are scrutinizing our own thinking, our own thoughts. We are not different from the society we came from. We represent it. And what we are talking is about it. So I think the society also should listen to us at the time to implement some of the ideas we are producing here. Because we too are readers. We may not have been in the State House or in Parliament or anywhere else, but you selected us because you knew our leadership and what contribution we can make, and I think we have made it here. Yes.
Good. Sheikh Ibrahim.
Each one of us should play their part, Jeff. Remember that Kenya is a gift from God to all of us, this beautiful country, and we should not allow anybody to destroy this country. So Bishop, Reverend, Sheikh, play your part in calling back those people who go astray. As a voter, Jeff, use your vote wisely. As a political leader, know that you are answerable before God. Do the right thing. Journalists or the media, play your role. When each one of us play the right role, I think we are going to save this country. And I want to end up with this saying of the prophet, may peace be upon him. Whoever amongst you sees an evil thing, change it with your hand. If you cannot change it with your hand, with word of mouth, that's what you're doing here. And if you cannot do it, even with the word of mouth, hate it with your heart. But that is the weakest of faith. None of you wants to be weak of faith, so it's either with your hand, if you're in that position, or minimum, word of mouth. So Reverend Joya, even in your retirement, can you speak? Bishop, even in your retirement, speak. Let me also speak, and we remind each other that we have a country and we shall be answerable before God. Those are my parting words.
Wonderful,
Jeff.
wonderful. Bishop Oginde, you get the final word.
Like judges sometimes say, after the Sheikh has spoken, I have nothing useful to add. He has said the words I wanted to say.
Yes.
Let each one of us play our part to keep this country intact. Let us not be moved by emotions. Let us not stir up evil, whether as leaders or as followers. Let's be sober. After 2022, there's 2023. And there's 2024. And there's 2025. This country will still need it. Why do we make politics the all and all?
Yeah.
Kenya is the only country I know where we politic from one election to another one.
Yes.
When do we build our nation? Countries, Jeff, you saw the other day, some people are going to the moon, private, on a private rocket, while our people can't even have food to eat. We are not going to get there by politics. We are going to get there by being sober and doing hard work. That is what I would say.
Absolutely. Bishop David Oginde, Sheikh Ibrahim Letome, Reverend Dr. Timothy Njoya. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. This was very, very timely. And Kenyans, I hope, were listening and continue to listen, because leadership starts with us.
Yeah.
It starts with you.
Thank you.
And you. Thanks so much for being a part of Jeff Koinange Live every Wednesday. It's all about those 3 letters on the keyboard that follow each other, JKL. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight, folks. Good night, good luck. God bless this great nation of ours called Kenya. Let's not destroy it.
No.
It's ours. We don't have another Kenya to go to. This is it.
This is it.
Like Michael Jackson said, this is it.
This is it.
Thank you.
Or as Reverend Joy said, cool it.
Cool it. Cool it.
Good night.
Thank you.
So, Jeff,